Hello guys, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care, and today I'm starting on a project. I'm gonna have to do this in stages, and so today I'm just gonna start kind of figuring out measurements and placement and all of that. So what I'm gonna do, or at least attempt to do, is move my PV18, which is the Protero vac hopper system and all of that, off of the John Deere. And I want to put that on my Z3X 61-inch. You're probably asking why I would want to take that off of the John Deere and put it on the Z3X in the first place. Well, here's my reason, or reasons rather. One, ever since I've gone to the stand-on mowers this season, guys, I hate sitting down. It's hard on my back. It just seems like it wastes so much time getting on and off the mower when you have to move pick up a stick, move a rock, just any number of things that you have to get on and off the mower for. And you just waste so much time on a sit-on mower. That's one reason. The second reason is the horsepower. This John Deere has a 23.5 horse motor on it. And guys, it is, in my opinion, severely underpowered, especially with the vacuum system on it. Now, if you're just mowing with this mower, it's fine. If you go up a hill in thick grass, you're going to have to go really slow. You're going to bog it down, but it does what it's intended to do as far as the mowing goes. But when you get into wet leaves, even dry leaves that are just thick, this mower being so heavy and having such a small motor, guys, it struggles. I mean, it's just it's very slow, and it seems like it's slowing the process down as far as leaf cleanup goes compared to what this 37 horse engine would do. And so for those two reasons mainly, also because I'd kind of like to sell this mower. It didn't get used at all this year except for a little bit of aeration, and that was more of just kind of testing it out. So if I can take the Protero off of there completely and have that on the Z3X along with the other Protero system that I just ordered, which is the PV13, so it's the next size down hopper. The blower and the hose are all the same, but the hopper's a little bit smaller. Instead of a 14.5 bushel like this, it's a 10 bushel, I believe. So it's quite a bit smaller in capacity, but it's going to go on my 52-inch mower. And so if I had that system on the 52 and this system on this 61-inch mower, I'd have a heck of a setup and all the horsepower I could possibly want or need, and I could stand up, and it would free up that mower to where I could go ahead and sell it if I wanted to. So that's basically my reasoning in a nutshell. I've got everything stripped down, bare slate if you will. Everything is removed off of the deck. The excuse me, the hanger bracket for the grass catcher, and then the quick shoot, I removed both of those. So, other than just the deck being a little dirty, all that's cleaned off now. And I went ahead and removed the cover off of the top of the pulley on this side, because I'll need to get access to that to add a pulley to the top of that for the belt drive. And on the blower, I've taken off everything that was specific to the John Deere, so that what's left is what I can use to mount it to this mower. I'm going to put the blower in place, put some blocks under it or something just to have it where I want it at, and then we'll go ahead and start mocking up some new hangers. They're going to go on the deck and hang on that support. I've got my first bracket mocked up, and believe it or not, other than drilling the hole on the drill press with a 3/8 bit, all the rest of the cuts I was able to make on my chop saw. Let me show you how that works. So you can see the original hanger bracket and how short it is. That's the bracket that works on the John Deere, so no issues there. Here's how mine works. So basically the same thing. I get the blower pushed up here in place, and there you go. So basically it'll weld to the angle iron right here, and then all you've got to do is just set the unit in place, and it hangs on that brace. So you notice I've got it right, not against, but it's about a 1/4 inch away from that little gusset, that little brace. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Instead of putting it close to this one, I'm going to bring it back here. Well, it'll be on the inside of this, but basically in the same spot, you know, about a 1/4 inch away from that one, because that's the strongest point in that brace. So all I've got to do is trace this bracket out. I've already put it in the back. In fact, there you go. Same thing. When you've got the blower pushed up tight, fits perfect. So all I got to do is copy that one, cut it out, and I'll be ready to tack those on and hang this in place. Both of them are made and tacked in place. Got them tacked twice on top and once on the side towards the bottom. Just a good heavy spot weld, basically. I guess I only did one on this side. Anyway, it's on there. It's hanging on its own right now. Nice and solid, nice and flush. Good fit. So before I do anything else, I'm going to head over to the trailer and we're going to see if this thing fits or not. Okay, that is tight. So you can't even see that in the video, but there's a 1/4 inch on that side, and then without the guard on and everything, just barely, maybe 1.5 inches. But the important thing is it does fit. It's definitely beefier than what was originally there. So you can see that's just like 1/4 inch, and then this is 3/8 plate. So and I went a little taller too. A lot of that was just because, you know, this only came out yay far. Well, this is coming out several inches farther, and so I just wanted to make sure it was plenty strong to bear the weight of that blower. You know, that blower or impeller. It's got a lot of weight to it. So I got that finished up, and then here's what I've also been working on. So this was rather the pulley assembly off of the John Deere. So as you can see, I cut off the flange, and then I cleaned. Is the top of the spindle, right? I took the cap nut off, or the top nut. It's not special, it's not a lock nut or anything. It did have some Loctite on the thread, so I'll be sure and put some more Loctite on it when I put it back on. But it had a washer underneath it, not quite as big in diameter, okay, that set right underneath the cap nut. And so basically I'm just going to be replacing that washer with this washer. And as I said, this washer is going to go on the, well, that's the wrong side. It's actually going to go on this side because it needs to stick up just a little ways. But basically it's going to come out where it's about even, or maybe just a little bit shy of being even with the top of the grease zert right there. So I won't be losing any clearance. I won't have to drill any holes, run any bolts, you know, none of that silly stuff. All it's going to require is the cap nut. So you guys got to see it. It works. That was the first time I engaged the blades at half throttle, and yeah, looks like everything worked out great. So got good belt clearance, which was one issue I was kind of concerned about right here, but there's actually some adjustment in this this whole assembly right here. Can move up and down, and it's right where it was before, but it's got good clearance, so I don't need to worry about that. Got good clearance everywhere else. I've got full range of my deck height. The one thing that I do need to do is I need to run a safety rod through. So what I'm probably going to do is just line it up with one of these two holes, probably this one, and drill a hole through the existing hole right here, but drill through the plate, and do that on both sides, and then run a rod through with the pin in it. And basically all that does is keeps the whole unit from being able to pick up or lift up, you know. When I would so much rather be looking at the back of this mower than that ugly green thing. No offense, John Deere guys, they are good machines. I'm just moving on. So here are all the pieces. Got the A-frame, which slides into this post. That's of course the plate that was bolted or mounted to the John Deere. Just had 3 bolts. They weren't especially heavy. They were about a 1/2 inch bolt. Actually maybe more like a 3/8. But so there's all the parts there. There's those 2 stabilizer bars that I won't be using. Obviously I don't have a rollover protection system or anything like that to use it on. And here is the front weight. I don't know what that weighs, guys, but gosh, that thing's a beast. I mean, those are solid iron bars, 2 inch by 4 inch, and then I don't know how long they are, 18-20 inches long. They're freaking heavy. So anyway, I guess that's the whole point, right? The front weight. So I measured how these were setting on my John Deere as far as height, and then how far it needs to come back because of having platform clearance. Because when this goes up and connects to the hopper actually sticks out to the front of the A-frame. 7 inches is what I measured. So this needs to come back at least 7 inches and be at 22 inches of height to be the same height as it was before. Well, I'm just kind of playing around here, but I noticed, so obviously you've got the bolt for the rear wheel, you know, the skid wheel or wheelie wheel, I don't know what you really call that, but and then there's a bolt hole right here, right in front of that. Well, I just kind of played around with the idea of if I used those 2 holes, it's not going to fit in there without taking the bolt out, but it actually comes out, if I use those 2 bolt holes, it actually comes out 7 inches, and the height is like 21.5, which is close enough because the only thing that affects is, you know, the dump height. So I think, which would be fantastic, I can utilize this bolt hole and that bolt hole and not drill any other holes, at least be able to get the system on and see if it's going to be solid enough to see if I need to do anything more than that. I'm making a heck of a mess out here. I'm going to have all kinds of tools to tools to put away, and I'm not even going to show you the inside of the garage. It was a mess to begin with. But so the holes that I was talking about actually worked out great. I'm trying to see which side I can show you a little better. It's probably gonna be about the best angle right there. But I had to drill a hole in this plate for the wheel bolt to go through. But that bottom hole down here worked out great. Let's see if I can get you a better angle. Yeah, you can kind of see it down there. See the head of the bolt anyway. So I was able to utilize those two holes, which looks like it's going to work out great. The height of these A-arms was not quite tall enough, so I added a spacer right here. It's not welded in or anything. I probably will weld it to the bottom piece, but I want to test everything out before I go and weld those in. They're just a 2-inch spacer to give me the height that I needed for the hopper to get it to the same height that it was before. And I've got more of that square tube, so if I need to make that spacer taller or shorter, I can play around with that. So they're mounted on. They seem good and solid. That's actually kind of a good spot to put things because you've got this brace right here that's welded into the fender for the wheel, and then you've also got this piece of 1/4-inch steel plate that runs up the whole back of the machine. It's just one great big 1/4-inch steel plate. And so you've got the bolt that's through this, which is also being supported by this, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like an I-beam structure, so sort of, you know. And then you've got that lower bolt also, and it's all on. I've got a lot of things to adjust. So I'm standing comfortably. I can actually lean back a little bit. So that all works out really good. I can stand there comfortably. I can actually lean back a little bit even. So, you know, there's ample space between there. Doesn't seem very tail heavy. One thing that I noticed right away is this right here, how close that is to the ground. It's about the same distance to the ground as that wheelie wheel. So I think what I'm going to do is probably take this off at a 45-degree angle. At least, you know, at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches of that, and just bevel that off. So, like when I go through a ditch or something, I don't get hung up and tear stuff up. I did get my front weight mounted on, and I just used a pair of U-bolts, so that allows that front end to still articulate, and I left space for the pivot point right there. So I put spacers in behind it. So the front weight is on. Everything's working out good with the blower. I did go ahead and put the heavier rod in. I don't know if it really makes any difference, but I'd rather have a little bit beefier, you know, rod in there than the thinner one, especially if it comes down to a safety thing. So, or keeping it from possibly coming off of there. I got a plate made. It's got some John Deere green paint on it right now, but the next thing I'm going to do is wash the mower, which it really needs, and I'll pull the blower off and all the brackets and everything, pull everything off that I modified, and get it painted up. So here's the fun part back here. You can see I added 2 cross members that are the same size square tube, that 1.5 inch square tube. So I've got those added in. I did go ahead and adjust all these L brackets, all 4 of them, and get those where everything is nice and snug, so it's not rattling around, making a lot of noise. By the way, when I put this cross beam in down here, and then I put the other one in up here on the part that actually comes out. Oh, and I welded the spacers in, as you can see, so that 3-inch spacer that I added, went ahead and welded it in. But putting those cross members in, that took all of the play out of this system. So if you shake it, the whole mower moves. So it moves like a unit, and that's what I wanted. You know, I want it nice and solid where I'm not worried about any component putting stress on the mower. It looks like the bolting method that I figured out is going to work just fine. Let me get a better view of these cross members right here. So I'm a better grinder than a welder today, I guess. I did a lot of grinding, it seems like, but everything's on. So another thing I did too, and I pointed out earlier, is I took this bevel off right here. So I didn't take a lot of the mass off, as you can see. I still left, I think what I took off was about 1.5 inches longer, but I just wanted to get that sharp corner off of there. So if I go through a ditch or backing up on the trailer, anything like that, I don't have that that sharp corner right there that can dig into things. So I did that on both sides. It's not quite a 45. It's a steeper angle than a 45, but took the corners off. In case you're wondering, everything that I put on clears really good with the platform. So the suspension platform isn't being interfered with at all. And I already showed you guys getting on and off the unit. So I did go up to my front yard. I didn't video it because the angle of the sun right now would just wash everything out. But I did go to the front yard and just run it over my front yard. And man, I like the way it operates. So much more comfortable on a stand-on mower. This stand-on mower especially, the Z3X, so much more comfortable on that than I am on a sit-on mower. I've got everything painted up. I did decide I'm going to go ahead and leave the guard off. I may eventually change my mind on that, or I might make a guard that's more open. Instead of, you know, all closed in with sheet metal, I might make more of just like a pipe guard. You know, like a piece of pipe that would come out, go across, go back in somewhere, just to kind of protect things from getting hit. But for now, for what little bit of the season is left, I'm just going to go ahead and run it as is. But as you can see, everything is all painted up. Went ahead and painted all my framework back here. Sorry for the dogs barking in the background. Our neighborhood has a really bad echo, so stuff that happens blocks away, you can hear it forever. But anyway, so that's all looking nice, and I'll be able to get some video this week of it in use. I'm actually gonna be doing a couple leaf cleanup jobs right after Christmas. So anyway, just wanted to show you how it all looks, all finished up. Really excited to get this out and use it. It's gonna be nice having my stander where I can use it not only for the mowing season, but continuing into you know, all the way through fall. So it's gonna be really nice to get this thing out, try it out, put some time on it, see how everything works. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Get out there and make some money, and we'll catch you on the next one.